Beautiful. Are you ready to figure out some of the ways to make your emergency medical folder safer? Well, this is the live for you. We are talking about what information to include in your emergency medical folder so that you do have the information you need and what not to include. This is day 2 of the free emergency medical folder challenge. I'm Susanna Kay, professional organizer, and I welcome you. As you hop on, let me know who you are, where you're joining me from, and if you've already registered for the challenge. I'd love to find out if you're registered or if you're just learning about it, all that good stuff. So the Emergency Medical Folder Challenge is the free challenge happening just this week, January 10th through 16th, 2022. So if you're watching this later on a replay, then some of these links will not be available, but the information will hopefully still help you out. And if you have not already registered, or to find any of the links that I talk about during the live, make sure to stop by the challenge schedule page. This link is also in the comments everywhere except for in the Facebook group and in the description of the video. So hopefully this helps you out. I'll share this throughout. Sound good? All right. So as I mentioned, day 2, we are talking about what to include and what not to include in your emergency medical folder. And I'll remind you a little bit about the worksheets that are available so that you can build this for free the easy way, because you know me, I like to make it easy for you. That's kind of my whole goal. Really quick, I want to say hi to everybody. I see Eloise is here. Thank you so much, Eloise. She says that she's already putting my great tips into use and feeling really good about it. And she's sweet enough to say, thank you. Please know that I'm thankful for spreading your awesome gift and beautiful smile. Thank you so much, Eloise. You're so sweet. Comments like that just make me so happy. I love it. Darlene is here. Welcome, Darlene. I see we got Kathy, Sue, Rita, Debbie, Joanne, Susan from Nova. We got Thomas is here. He's got to go write some job applications, but I'm glad you stopped by. We've got Lori's here from Ohio. Darlene says she's already registered for the challenge. Yay, that's wonderful. Rosemarie's here. Julie. Awesome. I absolutely love having you all here. Jane says that she's filled out her forms and she's excited for today. You are ahead of the game. I love it, Jane. Welcome, Ta and Kathy, Catherine. This is going to be so much fun. All right. So if you have any questions as we go through this, please, in the comments, that's the place to ask. I'll pause every once in a while to answer questions. But first off, what I wanted to talk about, I mentioned what to include and what not to include in your emergency medical folder. So what to include in your emergency medical folder. Now, just as a reminder, this emergency medical folder is a quick grab folder that has all of you and the other people in your household, all of your most important medical information, and some emergency evacuation information. So if you have to head out to the hospital or evacuate to a shelter or evacuate for some reason, or even just if you're going to the doctor's office, I grab mine and take it with me because it's got so much of the current information in there. This is also really helpful for first responders. If for some reason you or your family member can't communicate and an ambulance or first responder has to arrive, then they will have all of the important information without you even having to tell them. So that's the emergency medical folder. What's inside? Inside, I have all of the worksheets that you'll see are available as a free download to everybody who's registered this week. Make sure to stop by that challenge schedule page. That's where you can find these worksheets. And I'll show you a little bit about, how to download them if you've not downloaded them yet at the end. But things to include in your emergency medical folder. If you're using the free worksheets that are only available this week, then you've already got these. If you're building it from scratch, either because you want to customize it for yourself or because it's after the challenge, then this will give you some ideas. So the first page that you'll find is a checklist of not only what pages and information you'll need in order to fill this out, but also items to include in a pocket folder or in the notes areas of this folder. So some of the things that you might want to include in this folder that would not necessarily be on the worksheets would be any new or changed prescription information. So one of the pages within the folder is the prescription and medication information. And you can list out your medication and prescriptions. You can print as many of those pages as you need. The other option, and this is one of the things that I like to do to just save time, I don't fill in that page necessarily. What I like to do is in a little pocket for each person. My dividers happen to have pockets. You can do it however you want, but you know these little slips that you get from your pharmacy whenever you pick up your medication? Well, whenever I am given a new prescription, I take this slip and I just put it right in the pocket of that person's divider. And that way you have everything right there. You don't have to bother filling it in if you don't want to on the page, but this will have what the medication is. If it's a generic or if it's the brand name, how much you need to take, what the instructions are for taking it, who prescribed it. It has all the information about if there are adverse reactions to look for and all of the information. So I love to keep these right inside of my emergency medical folder. And then when my doctor asks what prescriptions I'm on, and if I need to update anything with him, I can even just hand him the sheet and say, I'm on this, and I'm on this, and I'm on this. And they can make sure that their files are up to date as well, which is nice. They don't have to ask any questions. They have everything they need. It's also helpful for first responders. Then they know what you're taking. So they won't accidentally give you something that would counteract what you're already taking. So prescriptions, I like to use those prescription sheets. I like to also add business cards for doctors and specialists and important people of note, and a copy of insurance card. So I add one of these business card sheets, and I just put the health insurance cards that I have, any doctor's cards. I usually grab a couple of them when I'm at the office. That way, if I'm at another doctor's office, I can just grab one of the extra cards and hand it to them if they need to know what other doctors I see, or if I need to have them send records to the other doctor. I've got all the information right there. A current photo of each person included. Now, the way I do this, if you've got a pocket folder that's clear, then you can just stick it right into the pocket folder for the divider of the person that it has to do with. Like this one is for me. So Susanna, so there's a picture. This one has both of us, but since it's a guy and a girl and we both look like a guy and a girl, then it's pretty obvious which one's Susanna. Usually it's better to pick a picture of just you. I just did not have one on hand. But put it in the front divider, or you can tape it to your divider. It's just good to have a photo of the person that the following sheets apply to in case a first responder does have to respond and you're not able to communicate. They know which pages have to do with you because they might not know your name. So this way, they're going to know your name, your blood type, everything. Copies of important medical and legal documents. Now, the originals I keep in a fireproof and waterproof safe, and I just write in the notes section where that location is, or in the documents section. And then I put a copy of things like the designation of healthcare surrogate, anything that I would need in an emergency, a medical emergency or a regular emergency, any of those really important things that they would need within seconds. So I would not really put the insurance policies because you're not going to file a claim while you're in the shelter. That you would do later, that you would keep in your full Spark Life binder that has all the other papers. But I would use something like a healthcare surrogate if I'm not able to make decisions for myself. They need to know who is and all of the details of it and how to contact that person. And then they'll know where the original is located if there's any questions. Some things you might need the original for, like if it's a DNR or things like that, just make sure that you put whatever you need in this folder. So power of attorney is an example, a DNR, authorization paperwork, medical directives, a copy of your COVID vaccination card, emergency notes, including if there are any pets in the home that would need care, who to contact to take care of them, things like that. Those are some of the things that you would add to your folder. Now, within the folder, we talked about there's an allergy page. You might, if you have a life-threatening allergy, there's a page specifically for life-threatening allergies. You might want to put this up front before the checklist if you need first responders to be able to see that quickly. But life-threatening allergies, you would want to list out those separately from your regular allergies so that they are noticeable. Then emergency instructions, including your health insurance, if you have additional insurance, where original copies of any of those legal documents are. So this says that the healthcare surrogate the original is in the safe located in the back bedroom closet, And Jane Smith is the primary decision maker for all health decisions covered by the healthcare surrogate, and her cell number is 407-222-3333. Obviously, this is made up information because that's not my true information, just because this is going to go on the internet. But you would also want to write, are you an organ donor? Are there any limitations? What your blood type is, emergency contacts. There's a space for other important information, such as the emergency contact that has the key to the safe. Allergies, prescriptions, medications that you're on, vaccines that you've had. And then I also like to include some pages with general home emergency information. So list out, and if you have the worksheets, you'll just be filling in the blanks. You don't have to remember to include this. Just answer the questions. That's the nice thing with the worksheets. These are fillable online, so you can type in and then print them out and save them if you want, or you can just print them out and handwrite them, but you're just answering questions. You don't have to remember any of this as you're building it from scratch if you have these worksheets. But things like the police non-emergency number or the sheriff's non-emergency number, fire department, ambulance, all those non-emergency numbers, because sometimes we do need to contact them, but it's not a 911 situation. Who the landlord is, in case there's a problem at the house, the alarm company information, locations of circuit breakers, fuse box, fire extinguishers, water valve shutoffs, and then, of course, information about what pets are in the home, who can take care of them if you had to go to the hospital, that type of information. And then there's a good spot for notes. So this is all that I would generally put into the emergency medical folder. So if you're trying to decide what goes into the folder, you'll want to think, okay, if I need to go to the hospital and I cannot speak for myself, what information would they absolutely need? That would go in there. Another thing is, if I'm going to an emergency shelter, what things would I absolutely need that I would not have time to grab from the house? Oh, another thing that I put in here that I forgot to list is pet vaccination certificates. Because if you're evacuating with your pet to a shelter, or if you have to board them in an emergency situation, then they'll want to know that they're up to date with their vaccines. So those certificates are good to have in here, or at least a copy of them. So if you take it for an emergency evacuation or for a hospital, just the most important information. We don't want this to be a huge binder. We want people to find what they need quickly, but that would go in here. If it's not necessarily something that you would need in that split second of the emergency, then it would go in your main important papers binder. And there's a workshop later this week on how to set up an important papers binder for all the rest of your information. That's where the rest would go. So that's what is included in your emergency medical folder. Next, I'll talk about what's not included on purpose. But let me first say hi to a few people who've hopped on and answered some questions. Let's see. Hey, Juanita. Juanita's here. She's nice and cold. I'm hot here in Florida. I am missing the cold. Darlene says, how and what is the best way to say that I'm low vitamin D and need to take vitamin D daily and iron? Forget the term right now. No official prescriptions. The best way to do that, you can either type in that allergy and the non-life-threatening allergies and conditions. That's why it's actually allergies and conditions. You can just write the details and type the details in there, and that's where I would enter it. The other option would be in the back notes page if you wanted to. So anything that you want to enter that would not fit reasonably on one of those questions asked on the worksheet, that's what this note page is for. And you can print out multiple notes pages if you need more, but it's really helpful because everybody's a little bit different. So that's why we need a space for anything that might not be the usual thing that we would think that would need to be included, but you might need it. Hey, RJ and Razila, good to see ya. Darlene says also, what about temporary new scripts? 10 days of antibiotics, for example, pink eye drops. Those, I usually actually also put those right into the divider. And every once in a while, when I put a new one in, I just look through and make sure that they're all still accurate. And I pull out any that aren't correct anymore. The other option, if it's really temporary, like antibiotics, you could always just stick it right in the front pocket, just so you remember to pull it out next time that you grab the folder. But at least with antibiotics and things like that, if they think that you're on an antibiotic still and you're not, then it's probably not going to hurt too much, especially because most of the time, if you're using those prescription sheets from the pharmacy, it will say, take for 10 days, and they'll have the date that you started. So they can also figure out, okay, well, she started this in November, it's now March, and it was only for 10 days, so she's probably not taking it anymore. So hopefully that helps. Hey, Judy. Okay, Darlene says she thought of something. If you get the appointment cards, might it be good to put those in there so you can answer the question also about the last time you saw the doctor and stuff like that? That's up to you. If those are things that you want to make sure to have in your emergency medical folder for doctor's appointments, that is a great idea. You can use that business card slot and then take out the old appointment card and put in the new one. And I love that idea. So that's a good one. So Jane asks, would your driver's license be good? All right, well, I'm going to use that as the perfect transition really quick, and then I'll answer some more questions afterwards. So Jane, and I've had other questions about this, what not to put in your emergency medical folder. So there are some things in my emergency medical folder that I do not include. And the reason I do not include them is because this is the type of folder that you want easily accessible, maybe on a kitchen counter or somewhere that the first responders can find and that you can easily grab. So this is not something that you would generally lock up in a safe. So that being said, you will notice that I do not have any fields for date of birth or social security number or driver's license or photocopies of credit cards. I don't usually put anything with that level of personal information into my emergency medical folder because this is something that I would keep in my kitchen. We'll talk about how to let first responders know where to find this. But generally, we'll talk about that later this week. But generally, I keep this somewhere like my kitchen. Some people keep it in their car, but that's accessible if you have somebody walking through your home, maybe a cleaning company or caregivers, or if somebody breaks in. So generally, I would not do my full driver's license in here. Also, usually that's not required in order to give you the emergency care that you need. So for the emergency care, they don't need your date of birth, your social security number, or your driver's license in order to stabilize you in an absolute emergency. They need that for charging your insurance company and, making sure to update your records. But what I like to do with the emergency contacts, you can write in your emergency folder who has that information. So you can write, date of birth, social security number, driver's license information are all available by contacting, and then write the contact person's name in that either local or family contact section. I think it's one of the first pages. Yes, so we've got 2 fields for emergency contacts. I would just write in the parentheses who has access to that information. So then the first responders can call them if they need that information. But that is a fantastic question. So I do not include anything in my emergency medical folder as much as I can avoid it that has ID numbers, things like that. Hopefully that answers your question. Hey, lady, and I want to say hi to Julie and Cheryl. Lizette says, this is great. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Hey, Peg, good to see you. And another Linda. Now, Peg says, unfortunately, I'm on a number of meds and vitamins. I've been there before. How do you add another page for medicines to the digital file of the PDF? So tomorrow, I'm going to go much more in depth on how to use the PDF version of the worksheets. And I'll show you on screen how to do some of these things, like saving an extra page. But in general, what I do is I would save either another copy. It depends on your level of proficiency with technology. But I would either duplicate the file, and you can rename it and just say additional medicine and vitamin information and fill in just that page so you can print it off. Or if you're a little bit more technologically advanced and you have software that will let you do it, you can also just extract that one page with specific software. So that's how I like to do it. But I will show you a lot more about how to do that. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow that we will talk about how to do that. Let me double check. Yep, downloading the worksheets and getting started. That's what we're talking about tomorrow. So hopefully that helps. Hey, Debbie, yeah, liver disease or diabetes would be something that you would definitely want to list in those allergies or conditions. So where it says allergies or conditions, I would put, liver disease, and you can write a little bit of detail about the severity or specific needs, diabetes, what type diabetes, what the special needs are. You would write that into that area. So Jane says, when I turned 65, a form at the doctor's office, I had to fill out a life-sustaining treatment, and it's on my refrigerator for emergency people. That's perfect. Yes, absolutely. And on the refrigerator is where you would communicate this to emergency people. In most areas in the United States, I'm not sure about other countries, but at least in the United States, they know to look on the refrigerator or in the freezer for that information. And we'll talk about that later this week too. Hey, Ellen from Vermont. Joanne says, any idea why the pages are large font and not all information on the page? Sounds like there might be a setting kind of off in your program that you opened it up in. So maybe try closing it and like closing the program and then completely reopening the file and see if that helps, or changing the view. So go to maybe the top bar and click on view and see if maybe you're just really zoomed in on that page. And then if you have any other trouble, if that does not help you out, then just shoot me an email. All right. And then we can try to help you troubleshoot. You can email me at hello@susannak.com. All right. Okay. So cool. Rita says, excellent idea. Thank you so much. I try. All right. So also, like I mentioned before I go into the last bit, I do have a free workshop this week. It's separate from these lives. It is the Important Papers Workshop. So if you're not already registered, then make sure to register. That challenge schedule page also does have this link, and it's also in the video description. But there are only 3 times available this week, and then it's over. It's all live, so I'm not doing it again after this. But I will show you how to put together a full, like this, Important Papers binder. And this is one part of my full Important Papers binder. My full Important Papers binder. But during the Important Papers workshop, it's going to be Thursday night and then Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. I will show you, you can either build one of these on your own from scratch, and I will show you exactly what types of information to include in it. And I will also, if you wanted the shortcut, I've got a full set of worksheets similar to the emergency medical folder that you can either order the print version all the way assembled or digital version that you can type into, but it's called the Spark Life Binder. And I will show you during that workshop how to set up your own. If you wanted to buy one already set up, that will be available, but also how to use it, what's important, how to make sure that you have everything that you need. So make sure to register for that. Like I said, the link is also in the description of the video, because I know that this is a very long link. So you don't have to worry about trying to type all of this in. And if you did want to just purchase the Spark Life Binder, then today is the first day that you can do that. So you can go to susannak.live, Live, /buy-my-spark-life-binder. I know that's long. It's only available until the end of the Sunday at that link, Sunday the 16th of January. But this is the 1 week that you are able to buy the Spark Life Binder. And again, on that challenge schedule page, this link is there too. Okay, so let's see. Joanne says, okay, thanks. You're so welcome. And Darlene already registered for the Important Papers Workshop. That's wonderful. Yay. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. All right, so the last thing I wanted to talk about very quickly today, I'm not going to go into how to use the worksheets with the digital version today. That I will go into tomorrow. But I want to make sure, if you're not great with technology, maybe, that you know how to find the worksheets and how to download them to your computer. So that way you can print them off and start filling them in by hand if you wanted to, or start typing into them and doing all the good stuff. So really quickly, let me see if I can make this work. Supposedly, this should work. All right. So right here, you can see that I have the challenge schedule page. If you're registered, then you received the link to the worksheets already in your email. If you're not registered, then you will probably need to fill out the form in order to get them. But on day 1, you'll see that the worksheets download is right here. You can click on that. And then I'm going to share the other page and I'll show you what it looks like when you open it. So this is what it looks like in general. Your screen might look a little bit different. This is just if you're using Google Chrome, you might be in Safari or Firefox or something, Explorer, something like that. But once you do open up these worksheets, make sure you're going to go to the little download icon and download them to your computer. So don't start typing into these in this first screen that pops up, because that's not going to save anywhere, because that's just an external link on the internet. You don't want to type your important information on the internet. So you're going to click download and then open up the file that downloads to your computer. So don't type in this first one, download it, and then open that file and type into it. But you can open this with those free PDF software like Adobe Reader that usually comes with every computer. And the nice thing is, since they are fillable, you can click on fields once you've downloaded it, saved it to your computer, opened up the one that you saved. But you can click on things to do check marks. You can type into them. So you can actually type into these different forms on the pages and then save them to your computer or external hard drive or wherever you want to save them. We'll talk about that later this week. And that way you can then update it very easily. So you can open up those worksheets that you saved wherever you saved them, and you can then edit it, and you can edit it and resave it. You can print it out, whatever you want to do. Now, if you're not great with technology, you don't even want to download it, you could also just hit print. But usually it helps to download it, because after a while, since this is for life, basically, you'll be using this for the rest of your life. You'll want to be able to update some of those pages. They might start to get ratty from being erased and rewritten on a bunch of times if you're doing it by hand. So it's good to have that original file, and it's yours to keep. So that's my gift to you, is those worksheets. All right, so, oh, yay, Lori's registered for the Important Papers workshop on Thursday. Yay, I'm so glad. Yay, Lizette says that she has the Spark Life Binder but hasn't set it up yet. Not a problem. That's fantastic. Well, you can, this upcoming year is the perfect year to set it up. And online, when you log into your library, I broke it down step by step how to do it super easy. So you don't have to worry about setting up, making it a big project. Remember, it's a process, not a project. Jane says, I'm registered for the workshop too on Saturday. Yay. Oh, I'm so glad to have you guys there. All right, so that's what we covered today. What to include in your emergency medical folder. I dropped mine on the floor. Oh, there we go. So inside the folder, you want to include anything that you would need if you had to go to the hospital, you or a family member in your household, go to the hospital or evacuate for an emergency, or that first responders would need. You can also, if you want to, include some information that you can take to the doctor's office. I often use some of the front pockets for temporary things that I might want to bring to the next doctor's appointment, like test results or questions to ask. And then that way it doesn't stay in the folder, but it can be there until the doctor's appointment. Then I can file it or let it go. So hospital, evacuation, emergency, first responders, and doctor's appointments, that type of information goes in. What does not go in? I do not like to include anything like social security numbers, driver's license information, date of birth, because we want this folder to be accessible to first responders who might come into the home, which means that it would be accessible to anybody who could come into the home. So don't include super personal information unless your situation is different. And then finally, downloading the worksheets and getting started. Make sure to check your email. When you're registered, your email is going to have that worksheet download for you. If you registered late, that challenge page that I shared earlier, let's see if I have the link again. It's in the description though. I have to try to find it on here. But that challenge schedule page, there it is, also has each day's previous email task PDF. So if you registered late, you're not going to miss anything. Use that challenge schedule page for the previous day's emails, and you can still read through them. But when you download those worksheets, remember to download them to your computer. Don't type into them while they're on the internet browser. So if it's showing in Chrome, Safari, Firefox, Internet Explorer, anything like that, then that's the wrong place. Download it, open that save file and type into that. Yeah, and that's it. Tomorrow, we'll go a little bit more in depth into how to use those fillable fields, how to make sure that it's saved correctly, all of that good stuff, and how to save that additional pages like Peg asked. So we'll make sure to do that tomorrow. Okay, so Lori says, I download one copy to keep blank and a second copy I name with the current date that I will use to fill it in online. That's a really good idea. Yeah, so that way you have one that you can print out blank pages and one that has the information. I like that. Good tip. Lizette says, I'm creating an emergency folder for my parents. She needed this last November during a medical emergency. I did a full Spark Life binder, which comes with the emergency medical folder as well. I did the full Spark Life binder for my parents because, yeah, I had a medical emergency for my dad, and he was dealing with a bunch of things for the house, and my mom did not know all of the information, and he was not able to speak for quite a while because he was on a respirator. So I had to take over and handle some of these things. And I realized he didn't have any of it written down anywhere. So I thought, okay. And that's actually around the time that I took what I had for myself and I started to actually create it into something I could share for others. But yeah, full Spark Life binder for my parents too. It made such a difference. And I've given it to my in-laws and all that good stuff. Peg says, I'll be at the Saturday night Important Papers workshop. Fantastic. And Julie just registered too. I'm so excited to see you guys there. That's going to be wonderful. Well, all right. So remember, tomorrow at 1 p.m., so that's Wednesday, 1 p.m., I will be live again. Same place. Join me for day 3, and we will be talking about filling in your PDFs. Also just how to complete it really quickly because we don't always have the time to just sit down and complete it all. I'll talk about breaking it down step by step, how to save additional pages, all of that good stuff. So tell me really quickly in the comments, let me know how many people are in your household. You know, are there 2 adults and 4 kids? Is it just you and 10 cats, which I totally support? How many people and pets are in your household? I always love to hear that. And then remember to also check out that challenge schedule page so that way you can see and make sure that you do not miss anything at all. All right, so let's see. Pamela, okay, Rosemary has 2. I was reading 2 things at the same time. Rosemary has 2 people in her house. That's awesome. So it's an easier emergency folder to put together, which is nice. 2 people, it's a good number. I have 2.5 since my stepdaughter's here half the time. Debbie's registered. Woot woot, I love it. And Darlene, 2 adults, 1 kid, 1 cat. That's true. I also have 3 dogs, 1 cat. We always forget the cat. Jane, just me and my dog. Oh, that sounds nice and cozy. Lady has 2 adults. Judy's 2. Kathy, 2 adults, 1 kid, 2 pets. Susan, just 2 and 2 cats. Love it. Joanna, just me and Sue is 1. Linda, 2 adults in the household. Catherine, party with 1. I love it. Debbie's got 2. Pamela says, oops, 3. Bonnie, just me and my 2 cats, plus a foster cat. Oh, that's awesome. Lori's hubby and me. We've got me and my roommates, who's a distant relative. Oh, that's really cool. 2 adults, my husband and myself. You're so welcome. Eloise says, again and always, thank you. Lizette says, 2 adults, 1 cat, and 2 Angora bunnies. Oh, that's so fun. 2 no pets for Eloise. Yay, Susan's registered. Awesome. 2 adults, 1 dog, and 1 senior father. Oh, good. So make sure for your senior father to include him as one of the people in the emergency medical folder. That's really helpful. And if you do have the Spark Life binder, make sure to do a section for him too, because it's so helpful to have that information. Absolutely. And Kathy says, I'm hoping to get my mom all set up too. Yay. Brenda, 2 adults, 1 college student, 1 cat, and 1 guinea pig. Eloise is registered, and Karen has 4 adults. That's fantastic. All right. Well, I absolutely love you. I love all that you're doing. This has just been such a fun week already. Make sure not to miss tomorrow at 1 p.m. for day 3. We're going to be live again. And then the Important Papers workshop. That is what's happening Thursday in the evening, Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening only. And then once it's done, it's done. If you can't make it at those times, If you register, you will get a replay, and that replay will only be available for the 4 days afterwards. So make sure if you do register and get the replay to watch that replay before it expires, but there will be a replay if those times don't work for you. And you're so welcome. I see Debbie says, thank you for all you do. And Lainey says, we love you. I love you too. Judy's registered. I'm so happy. All right. Well, I will talk to you all very, very soon. See you tomorrow. If you need anything, you know where to reach me, and keep being amazing. You're doing a great job this week. I love seeing photos that you're posting in the Facebook group and all of the good stuff and successes. You're so, so welcome. And yeah, I love you. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.